Hillary Clinton set to give her first national TV interview today, nearly 3 months after first announcing her campaign. Brad Woodhouse, former DNC communications director, president of Correct the Record, which is a rapid response team for Hillary Clinton, and Rich Lowry's editor of National Review and a Fox News contributor. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
You notice we didn't put a rope between you guys and our cameras today. Did you take note of that?
You might need one.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see how it comes.
The CNN reporter conducting the interview is Brianna Keeler, and I expect her to ask some tough questions. I think the first question, Rich, why is Secretary Clinton now conceding finally to this press request?
Well, I think it's all part of the strategy. And Bill, she's done this hide and seek in plain sight for so long because she can. She can get away with it. They can limit the access. They can pick very carefully who's actually going to get the interview. And they pick someone who is vested in the campaign, in a sense. It's someone covering the Clinton campaign. So she's not going to blow up her relationship with the Clinton campaign a year and a half out, especially given that she has a personal relationship with one of the key staffers, attended the wedding. So, and then we'll all cover it. So she'll ask the obvious questions, but she's not going to be tough. I could pick several people at CNN who I know would be tougher in their questioning and their interview. And then it's another way of kind of controlling the access.
All right,
so it's
this
very
is the
shrewd,
this is the wedding. This is the wedding picture from 2 weeks ago. One of the Clinton staffers, and she attended that, though. Rich, I disagree. I think she has high potential to be tough on Secretary Clinton today. Brad, back to the question: why is she doing this now?
Well, look, I think this is something that they've telegraphed for some time. They said the first few months of the campaign they wanted to be about Secretary Clinton interacting with voters, talking to voters in small events, getting grounded in these communities and talking about the issues. She then went on and did interviews. She did an interview in Nevada, in South Carolina. She did interviews with local press, and now she's turning to the national press. I don't think this is a surprise, and I think I agree with you, Bill. I think Brianna Keeler, who's part of an award-winning team there, will ask tough and appropriate questions.
All right, so here's my theory, guys. Rich, I don't think this interview happens if that rope line did not happen over the weekend. I mean, there was some significant backtracking.
Yeah, I imagine this was more calculated. Everything about the Clinton campaign is very carefully calculated well in advance, so this would be incredibly spontaneous of them to turn around and do this in a couple days. But look, that was embarrassing. And it wasn't just embarrassing for the campaign, it was embarrassing for the journalists who allowed themselves literally to be corralled like sheep.
Yeah, Brad, it's hard to defend, isn't it?
Well, look, Bill, I mean, let's be honest. Rope lines in journalists in politics are as common as the sun rising. I mean, it happens, it happens every day.
Yeah, sure, just walking down a street in a small town in New Hampshire on July 4th. Happens all the time.
Well, but Bill, think about what the alternative was. The alternative was a dozen reporters scrumming around her, interfering with the ability of voters to interact with her, and interfering with the ability of people who just wanted to attend the parade to be able to see it. And look, the other alternative is that these reporters could have been in one preset location, and all they would have gotten was a glimpse of her.
Listen, I heard our communications director yesterday try to defend us on another network. It was tough.
And the idea that she's been out there grounding herself in interactions with voters, these are incredibly pre-planned, synthetic events. She's not grounding herself in anything.
Brad, is this the beginning of a long line of interviews that she will now concede to with national reporters?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask the campaign. I mean, I'm assuming that that they will do more national interviews. But let's just be clear here. Most candidates, Carly Fiorina, I just take her as an example, need to do interviews with the press to increase their name recognition and their recognition among voters. Hillary Clinton has universal name recognition. She should be able to decide, when it's necessary and when it's not necessary to do national television interviews. Because, look, the voters are what's important here. I know reporters think that they're more important than voters, but I think voters are more important than reporters. Candidates get to decide if they want to interact with voters first and reporters later.
Well, this gets back to my first point. She's doing this because she can get away with it. And Brad, if I were you, I'd be a little worried about Bernie Bernie Sanders is nipping on her heels in Iowa and New Hampshire. You better break out the Oppo, because he's actually authentic. He really truly is interacting with voters in huge crowds of them. So I'd be very worried if I were you, Brad.
Doing it without a
Well,
red. Brad, thank you, gentlemen. We got to run.
Bernie Sanders is running a good campaign. I mean, this is going to be a competitive race.
Thank you,
guys.
Brad. Meanwhile, August 6th, less than a month from now, Fox News and Facebook team up to bring you the first Republican presidential debate of the 2016 campaign. We are live in Cleveland, and right now you can submit your questions for the candidates. Go to facebook.com/Fox News and tell us what you want to ask. You can do it starting now online at facebook.com/Fox News. Earlier in the day, we'll do a forum with the other candidates who are not in the top 10. Martha and I will have that for you live in Cleveland as well that afternoon. 20 minutes.
That's a great opportunity.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be big. Can't wait.